Hi guys, there are many wind vane politicians. These are people who will not lead but follow and switch when it's politically expedient for them to do so. They are opportunists who have no principles, and we've seen a lot of them over the last number of years. Liz Truss being one and Jeremy Hunt being another. They campaigned and voted to remain in the European Union. They proclaimed its virtues, but as soon as the vote came in, they became the greatest critics of Europe and presented themselves as Brexiteers. They do it for their careers, not for some political rethink. No, they're opportunists. Anyway, here is Jeremy Hunt suggesting that the French are somewhat licking their wounds over the UK's departure from the European Union and upset that Brexit is a success.
As a former Foreign Secretary, can you help my listeners interpret le standoff between the French and the British over a scallop boat in Le Havre? Mr. Hunt.
I think there's the sort of fireworks on the surface, which are probably being accentuated by the imminence of a French election. Underneath it, there is a lot of wounded pride still about our decision to leave the EU. And all I would say is that in the long run, we have far more in common with France than we have that divides us.
Wounded pride? What the hell is he talking about here? Look, when the UK decided to leave the European Union were quite clear. They said, look, we prefer you to stay, but we respect your decision to leave. Much more than Westminster's respecting any decision that Scotland wants to leave, but we'll park that for a moment. But the European Union were never antagonistic. They never said, we're going to force you to stay. They said, look, if you want to leave, do you want to have a relationship with us? After, we would like to have a relationship with you. But there are certain things that need to be cleared up before you go. But they never said you're not allowed to go. They never said we're going to stop you from leaving. And they were respectful to both Boris Johnson, on more than he deserved, and to Theresa May when she was Prime Minister. But if you look at it from the other side, you had the Tory media, pro-Tory, pro-Brexit media, pouring poison into the ears of the public, saying that the European Union is the enemy, it's a dictatorship, it's undemocratic, that our enemies are the Germans and the French. And this is the sort of rhetoric that was being poured into the ears, I believe, through the media, but it was orchestrated by the Brexiteers in government. Now, I don't know whether it was the government itself that decided this, but certainly Brexiteers were writing articles in the likes of the Express and the Telegraph, anti-European articles. I've showed you a few of them over the last number of years. But this idea that the French were upset that Britain left and it needed to punish Britain, I've yet to see any evidence to back that up.
We need to work with them to champion democracy, human rights, the things that we both believe in all over the world. And so we've really got to move on from that injured pride over Brexit and start working together.
So just lastly on that, to the pessimists who say, this is Brexit unravelling, how would you respond?
I don't think it's Brexit unravelling. I think Brexit is going to work.
Brexit is going to work? So the economy is damaged twice as much as the pandemic, the worst pandemic in modern times. You have empty supermarket shelves. You have food rotting in fields. You have farmers slaughtering their own animals because they can't get them to market. You have a heavy goods vehicle driver shortage that's causing a lot of these problems. Just to name a few. And this is Brexit working? This is a question I'd love to ask Brexiteers. What does Brexit look like if it's failing? What would a failed Brexit look like? Because if empty supermarket shelves, pigs being slaughtered by their farmers, food rotting in fields, if that's Brexit working, what the heck does Brexit not working look like? I'd love to ask Jeremy Hunt, please describe a bad Brexit to me, because if this is a good one, I'd hate to see a bad one. And remember, twice as bad for the economy as the worst pandemic in modern time. That's Brexit working. I'd love to ask him what Brexit not working would look like.
I'm speaking as someone who voted to remain, but I think it is actually going to work, and I think we will do very well with our new destiny. But if...
Sorry, just to get back to the original point I made, this is somebody who claims to have voted to remain in the European Union, and now he's saying, yes, it's going to be great. How can he look at what's happening to his country and say, yeah, this is going to be great, when people like him, before the referendum, made predictions that things are going to go badly? He was right. He was proven right, or people like him were proven right. And now he's turning around and saying, actually, I was wrong, even though I'm right. What the heck?
The EU and certain EU countries continue to think that they must try to punish Britain for making that decision, then we're never going to have normal relations.
All right.
So it's the victimhood mentality. Remember at the beginning of this Brexit saga, because this Brexit saga is going to last for a long time. But in the first stage of the saga, we had the Brexiteers saying, you know, the European Union is about to collapse. We need to get out. It's weak. It's going to crumble. And now they're saying, yeah, the EU is strong. The EU is domineering. Isn't it good that we got out? So they have this weird way of thinking that the European Union is collapsing, but at the same time strengthening. It's falling apart, but more and more united, or its grip is stronger on its member states. The other countries are going to flood out of the European Union as soon as we have voted to leave. They're going to follow us out. Well, support for the European Union has increased within member states. Yes, there are some problematic countries, of course, but overall, support for the European Union has increased. And you know what has helped increase that support? Brexit. I've spoken to people here in Italy and they're asking, what the hell is wrong with the British? Why did they do this to themselves? Look at what they're struggling through. Why did they believe their politicians? Why did they believe the media? Wasn't there somebody standing up to this? Wasn't somebody calling this crap out? And even political parties in Europe that were Eurosceptic, that were calling for a referendum on EU membership, have gone extremely quiet. Now, there are some extreme parties who are continuing to do that. They are living on another planet, in another reality. But the more mainstream Eurosceptic parties have toned down their rhetoric since Brexit, because they can't point to something positive in Britain, because there is nothing positive to point to. Brexiteers will claim that it's positive, but these are Brexiteers who are living in ivory towers. These are people who are well protected financially from the consequences of Brexit. So Jeremy Hunt is a bit of a disgrace, because he is somebody who campaigned to remain in the European Union. When he saw that the winds were changing, he jumped on board the Brexit bus, along with Liz Truss and many others. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot. I want to say a big thank you to all of my patrons. You ensure that this channel continues to exist. I'm eternally grateful for all of your support. If you join Patreon, you will receive instant access to our Discord server, where we have both audio and video chats. You can chat with me and other patrons, where we discuss important and non-important issues. Becoming a patron per month costs about the same as a large coffee, so why not check it out?